Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session Building Resilience Through Youth Empowerment, fusing Asian youth potential with COP28 resilience goals. I'll be your host for the session. I'm Amanullah Parak from Bangladesh, and we have four wonderful speakers with us. But before we dive into introducing our speakers, let me give you a short background of the session itself. So, as you may know, our South Asia region is extremely vulnerable, and we face severe climate change related distress all year around. So in this phase of escalating climate change challenges, our session will reach two vital endeavors. First, the Asian Youth Empowerment for COP campaign and the South Asia Regional Resilience Hub. This session will interlink the empowerment of Asian youth with practical aspects of resilience enhancements, fusing on themes like humanitarian action and disaster risk reduction. By aligning youth-driven solutions with Resilience Hub's objectives, the session envisions a powerful convenient convergence of youth innovation and resilience, shaping COP28's resilience discourse, and also catalyzing a more sustainable and secure future. Through this hour-long session, we aim to unite these parallel efforts, empowering Asian youth as agents of change within the broader context of COP28. COP28's resilience agendas. The intersection of youth empowerment and resilience building promises a formidable force in shaping a more sustainable and secure future. So yeah, that's about our session. And to continue the session, we have four wonderful speakers with us. We have Diksha Subedi from Nepal, we have Srishti Singh from India, we have Mohammad M.A. Tamim from Bangladesh, and we'll have Vikrant Srivastava for India as well. So I'll be introducing our speakers right along the way. And without any further ado, I'd like to pass the floor to Srishti, who is going to be talking about how we can interlink Asian youth empowerment with the South Asia Regional Resilience Hub's goals. But before I go to Srishti, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about Srishti. Srishti is an excellent part of our team, and she is a specialist in climate change with a decade of international experience in policy, advocacy, and community engagement, and also capacity building, including leading a UNFCCC award-winning initiative. Srishti currently wears multiple hats, like all the other young people around the world who wear multiple hats. Srishti is affiliated with UNFCCC India Country Office as a climate change and environmental sustainability focal point of Generation Unlimited India. She also serves on the board of Indian Youth Climate Network and has been the official host of ELCO India from 2021 to 2023 for 3 consecutive years. Majorly working as program and policy lead, Srishti forms a part of the core team, leading the policy working group of Asian Youth Empowerment Campaign. And she is also the campaign, and let me give you another piece of information here. The Asian Youth Empowerment Campaign is also the official co-host of the Regional Conference of Youth happening in Malaysia this year. Srishti has actively participated in UN climate change processes and leveraged her extensive grassroots experience to facilitate intergovernmental policy dialogues, as well as empowered youth to meaningfully engage in the climate policy and undertake local actions. So yeah, as you may know, as you have already understood, Srishti has a lot of experience, and she has been working extensively to ensure that young people's voices are heard. So I'll pass the floor to Srishti to see how we have been connecting the Asian youth empowerment with the South Asian Regional Resilience Hub's goals. Srishti, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Parag, and thank you so much, the South Asia Resilience Hub, to give us this platform to showcase how the Asian Youth Empowerment for COP is working to build resilience and contributing to the larger targets of the Resilience Hub. Since Parag has already talked about a lot on the campaign, I'd just like you to take you through a very short presentation where I would like you to understand how the team is working and the larger community within the Asia, especially the youth community, to kind of work towards how youth could be part of the decision-making processes, especially related to climate change. While Parag has also mentioned about how South Asia is being affected, specifically the Asian region, and there are a lot of studies, where a lot of evidences already, especially the climate change risk index by the German Watch, spotlighting how the South Asia and the Asian region is going to be largely impacted. And also there are World Bank. There's a very recent World Bank study in about Asia, talking about how the heat stress is being is impacting the Asian region twice as in the period between 1961 to 1990 and the current period from 1990 onwards. So I don't think I need to talk more about how it is being already impacted. The studies are already there, but since the young people are part of the solutions and not only the victims of climate change, they have the capacity to lead a lot of climate change initiatives. So I'll be talking about how we are trying to be a part of the solution and trying to bring Asian youth together through the campaign. So very quickly, as I have already built a little background on how we are working as a Youngo initiative, which is the UNFCCC Youth and Children constituency, and we are trying to mobilize and empower Asian youth to participate effectively while we are saying conference of parties, but we are trying to look at the climate change decision-making processes. We are trying to bring them all together to a platform so that they can effectively and meaningfully participate in the climate discussions. So our method of action currently, what we have charted out, and this is the initial year of our campaign, we are mostly focusing on bringing together the Asian youth for the Regional Conference of Youth, the Asia Pacific Regional Conference of Youth, which we are co-organizing with other partners. Some of them are local partners and some of them are international partners. And this is going to happen just before the UNFCCC Regional Climate Week during the first, I think during the second week of November. The dates will be soon out, and the call for registrations as participant and as volunteers is already out. Of course, as the COP27 Resilience Hub report has already mentioned that we have to come up with a lot of collaborations across various sectors, and trying to build on that partnership is the key to solve the climate crisis. We can't reach out to all the areas of the world, and Asia Pacific is already about 50 plus countries. So how can we build partnerships and kind of work through them is also one of our methods of action. As you all know, young people have been facing a lot of fundraising issues when it comes to youth-led initiatives. So we are trying to support financially through how their Asian youth could be part of the global policy processes. A lot of consultative approaches to bring together the young people, not only from Yango, but from all other, sister constituencies and networks. We have also, through this journey, found out that a lot of capacity building efforts are required to make young people understand not only the global policy processes, but kind of what is happening at their own country level, on connecting how the country level issues or solutions could feed into the global policy level and vice versa. I'll be talking a little more about it later in my slides, but this is a larger methodology which we are following as part of the I for COP campaign. And it's a very, again, this is the first year of the campaign, and we are trying to build on it, and suggestions and feedbacks and inputs are always welcome to strengthen the outcomes of the campaign. So we are divided across different working groups aligned with the method of action. We are going to have a lot of education capacity building. So that is being one of the working groups. There's policy, which I am leading currently. Of course, a lot of communication is required to advocate and to mobilize more and more youth to come together from the Asian region. There is a programmatic working group which is kind of putting together events like this, which Parag is leading, and then there is partnerships and fundraising, so that more people can join hands and help us gain more financial support to help the Asian youth give access to the spaces, especially decision-making spaces. Very quickly, I'm not going to be very specific on the working group outcomes, but I can talk about the larger outcomes of each of the working groups. We are having a lot of capacity building sessions. Two sessions have already happened, and the third is lined up for the next week, which is going to focus on climate finance. This year, we will be having, I think, a couple of more capacity building sessions before COP28. As part of the policy working group, which I am leading, we are having consultations with The Alcoy Asia organizers. Alcoy is a bottom-up approach of Yango to bring in local and regional considerations into the whole global policy process. Like, for example, I have been leading the local conference of youth. There are about 25 plus countries in Asia who are the official organizers in their own countries, and we have tried to bring all the organizers together to input the regional conference of youth and the Asia level action plan, which we are going to develop as part under this campaign. So these two outcomes uh, are going to be the policy working group who's going to lead these two outcomes. Of course, building on the regional conference of youth statement, which we would be leading, and the plan, we would also kind of see how we can strengthen our engagements at COP28 as the Asian campaign. Comms, I have been already talking about how we can be more active on the platforms, bring in more youth stories on how they have been taking up climate action in their own countries, in their own local towns, cities, villages that we are trying to showcase, and also kind of mobilizing the Asian youth um, to collaborate and bring in more expertise and see how they can kind of showcase their innovations on this platform of the campaign has built over time. This the programs working group, as I already talked about, is going to have a lot of is bringing together a lot of opportunities in terms of showcasing the Asian Youth campaign, the campaign which we are talking about, and also spotlighting a lot of youth-led initiatives and issues which the Asian youth are facing. So we are looking at two-way collaboration, not only showcasing the campaign but also bringing the voices of Asian youth to these programs so that they have a platform to talk about the very country-specific local issues and also innovations or stories which they have been able to work on over the years, or they are potentially going to work on as part of their own interventions. Partnerships and fundraising, we have been able to get some partnerships as well, like this partnership as I cannot talk about, but also other partnerships. There has been knowledge partnerships, there has been some partnerships, for example, it's for the regional youth, regional conference of youth, and also kind of mobilizing also requires a lot of accreditation support and funding support if we want more and more Asian youth to participate in the global policy. So that also the campaign is supporting. Since we are in our first year and we have to set our goals which are achievable. So, and the campaign has just started, and currently we are focusing on a 3-year Asia level climate action plan, which will kind of be a roadmap to the campaign. Um, so that's the first goal of the campaign in 2023. The policy working group is already putting together evidence-based research and holding consultations to bring together actions over the 3-year period, which will be a roadmap for all of us. Uh, as I've already mentioned, we are going to co-organize the Asia Pacific Regional Conference of Youth in Malaysia. But we are mainly the campaign is focusing on bringing together the statement of the Asia level statement, and a couple of programs on global peace and policy development, which our team is leading. And the regional conference of youth, which will feed into the regional climate week. We are also kind of bringing in the statement together and launching it and advocating for it as part of the regional climate week, which is going to be just after the regional conference of youth. Through the campaign, we are trying to build capacity of at least 250 Asian youth through the sessions which I mentioned. There was an ACE session, there's an adaptation, there's a climate finance session, and we have more sessions planned over time before COP28. We are trying to support at least 50 Asian youth for COP28 and COI through through different kinds of support, speaking opportunities, and kind of bringing the spotlight on them, on their initiatives through social media as well, and providing the support which I already talked about. A lot of, as per my experience, also a lot of uh, you know efforts are required to disseminate knowledge on climate change impacts in Asia. Like when we started putting together the plan, we thought there are not much studies on Asia Pacific. We were not getting so much data on this particular region, which could feed into like easily, I would say. Of course, it requires diving deep into research and reports which have come out globally. So how can we make it more accessible so that it is available and people can talk about it? Because when we are kind of in these spaces and we are talking about Asian youth, how it could be more evidence-based and how we can build on those evidence-based research to influence the policy discussions is also one of our major goals. So yes, I think with that, I have really covered the Asian Youth Empowerment, but how it is more related to, the Resilience Hub, which was also there last year. So there are two things we find very much aligned with the Resilience Hub goals. Is one about collaboration and partnerships to bring Asia level, community, especially for locally led adaptation, on which the report kind of, rests on, especially working with the local youth and who are bearing the brunt of climate crisis, and we can bring them in the decision making spaces. Second thing, which very much aligns with the resilience building, is the active participation and inclusive representation of young people at all levels of climate change governance. Since I've already talked about how we are kind of mobilizing the local level conference of youth, organizers who are very much informed by their local level impacts and national level, initiatives. So we are trying to work with them. We are trying to work at the Asia level and with the global opportunities and our own, personal and professional networks, how we can have more active participation of young people and how can these all, representations and activities could help essentially work on the development and negotiations on the national adaptation plans and the global goals on adaptation, which is going to be possibly be adopted at COP28. So, merging all these experience and the work which we will be doing, we will also see how it is kind of influencing the policy discussions at COP28. So yes, Parag, I think that's it from my side. I'm happy to take questions later, but yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Srishti. We know you are facing some difficulties with your throat, but still you spoke so eloquently. I was listening to you with a lot of focus and a lot of joy that yeah, we have someone like you in our team. So as you have all heard, that Asian Youth Empowerment is out there working in almost all the youth of almost all the Asian countries, and we have people from all socio-economic aspects. We have people from all different climate scenarios as well. For example, our next speaker, who's going to share his story of climate resilience with us, is coming from a very highly vulnerable area of Bangladesh that is called Kustia Daulatpur. Kustia Daulatpur faces severe river erosion and severe effects of climate change all year round. Sorry, do I have too much background noise? Ah, great. So, like I was saying, Kustia and specifically Daulatpur faces severe erosion all year around, especially in the monsoon season. And our next speaker here, Tamim, has been working relentlessly with his group of young people to protect the area and demand for a permanent embankment in Daulatpur. So, before moving to Tamim, I'd like to give a short introduction of Tamim to our participants here. So Tamim is a climate activist who started his journey as an activist in 2018 when he first started to demand to build a permanent embankment in Daulatpur, Kustia. Since then he has been connected with multiple youth organizations, and he also founded a youth organization called Sustainable Environment Empowerment and Community Transformation Organization of Bangladesh, in short, which we call SHIKTO. SHIKTO is currently working with 1,500 young people from around 7 districts of Bangladesh. And these 7 districts are 7 of the most climate vulnerable districts of Bangladesh. Tamim and his teams in these districts have been working relentlessly to demand for their rights and their proper protection of their areas. So Tamim is also affiliated with ActionAid as a national activist, where he has been working with young people from 15 districts to demand for climate justice. Tamim is also an associate trainer of Global Platform Bangladesh, where he trains and educates young people to take action in their grassroots levels. Other than that, Tamim is also an organizer of Fridays for Future Bangladesh and also Fridays for Future MAPA. And as I have told this earlier, we as young people wear a lot of hats. Tamim is no different. So without any further ado, I'd like to move to Tamim to hear his story of resilience in Daulatpur Kustia. Tamim, I hope you can hear me.
Are you hearing me? Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself and said that we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you very well. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Parag. I want to share a slide to share my some initiative and work.
Yeah, please go ahead. We already have the co-host permission, so you can share. Great.
Okay. So it's working?
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. This is Tamim. Parag already said. I am working from Bangladesh, and I am also lead a youth organization called Shikto Bangladesh. Already we are working lots of climate activities in this Bangladesh context. Now I am sharing our just some of initiative and climate resilience. So my theme is renewable energy. So Shikto Bangladesh has been working for a long time to ensure climate justice. Apart from this, we also started developing some model with renewable energy as a part of Kustia Renewable Hub following this. So Shikto Bangladesh first set up a biogas plant capable of meeting the needs of single household, increase the use of renewable energy, producing biogas and electricity, expect to convert at last 2 area to fully renewable energy using the next 2 years. So I've shared the problem. The country's energy and agriculture sector face significant threat from the adverse effect of climate change. Bangladesh contribute less than 1% to global greenhouse gas emission. However, the country ranks 7th and 9th in the global climate risk index and number of deaths due to the climate index disaster predictive. So the goal of sustainable agriculture in Bangladesh are productively environmental stability, economy, profitable and social and economical equity. Beside issue arising from the agriculture in Bangladesh, climate change process and serious threat to the country. So first of all, we are continue some of movement, like our just transition movement is here. So last global climate step, we are working make a first slide, no to fossil gas. So we are trying to promote and make a awareness campaign. We're trying to say no to fossil gas, and second image is tomorrow is too late. So we are also give a message, this stop fossil gas and tomorrow is too late. And we are trying to give a solution, like a local solution. So young people of the Shikto Bangladesh Kustia district team are leading a project. So when we try to demand our voice, like stop fossil fuel, stop fossil gas, we think we are developing a model, like a alternative solution. So we're leading a project, a 3.8 cubic meter plant required a 7 kg cow dung. So efficiently supply 4 or 5 houses with uninterrupted gas. At the same time, if an entire village to do eco-friendly agriculture without using renewable energy and chemical fertilizer. So it is enough to have 2 cows for each household. Suppose you spend 30 or 35,000 Bangladeshi taka on with 2 cow dung. This solution can at least 10 years. So it also linked the field of environmentally friendly labor with implementing climate change and mitigation. In this, the youth will learn more about the circular economic model. We are optimistic that with the support of like-minded organization, those young people of Shikto Bangladesh, we be able to build in an idea eco-friendly fuel rich in village. So my next slide is fossil to renewable. So we are trying to raise our demand, raise our voice. We are just say our last global climate stakes just transition now to fossil gas. So my first slide is just to fulfill now our strike, and second image is that take our initiative is biogas plant. So a youth starting a biogas plant, and this image. And secondly is fact and result. So we have strongly evidence for this initiative because we have already managed on successful plant of 2 cubic meter, and complete our second plant is of 3.8 cubic meters gas supply. So we will supply gas to 4 and 5 houses. At the same time, we will give a gas supply to the houses from where we can use the bill to get new initiative from the youth group. And facilities, biogas plant has been operated different part of country using the natural method for many years. So also we all have a strong understanding of this issue, and this biogas plant are set up with governmental assistance and various places. There has yet to be any legal complication. So the youth of Shikto Bangladesh decided the biogas plant are already operational, but have yet to be promoted of expanded. As a Shikto Bangladesh, the Green New Deal hub in working to ensuring the use of renewable energy among the marginalized people from Kustia. From there, the youth of felt this biogas plant was the assisting the most efficient way. So second is organizing fertilizer. So also we are promote organizing fertilizer when the cow dung is make a biogas, then the outcome is the wastage is a fertilizer also here. And potential for scaling. So Shikto Bangladesh initiative aims to scale up to using biogas plant and promote renewable energy solution. The initiative can achieve by providing training, mentorship, and networking to support the growth of community to practice. It can also advocate for policy planning and invest to a renewable energy solution, and engage with local, regional, and national governments to promote the benefit of biogas plant. So additionally, our initiative can replicate the model of other context, partner with the private sector actors and largest existing network and platform to share knowledge and promote the renewable energy. So the future will the solution impact climate change prevention. It also context of field of the environmentally friendly labor. So in this, we will learn more about the circular economy model with the support of like-minded organizations. The young people can build an idea eco-friendly energy replace our current plant to convert at least 2 area into the renewable energy power plants and spread them. So our Green New Deal strike here, and also our gas supply plant is here. This is our initiative. So it's my slide. Thank you, Borak. And
Wow. I think that's the beauty of our region. Yeah, we as in South Asia face a lot of challenges, but it's wonderful to see that our young people are being so many innovative ideas. So everyone for doing in your country. The next part know about how Dholakpur and parts of Bangladesh. From Nepal, parents who last 2 years have been actively involved in spreading awareness. Am I back? So sorry, my internet dropped. Am I audible now, guys?
yes.
Great. So sorry, Diksha, about that. I'll like to take the opportunity to start your introduction again. So Diksha Subedi from Nepal is a passionate socio-environmental and climate activist. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in agroecology, and over the last 4 years, she has been actively involved in spreading awareness, advocating policies, and taking action for environmental and climate issues. She is the founder of Youth Action for Sustainable and Eco Nepal, which aims to empower younger generation to be a part of change. She is now also volunteering in the Asian Youth Empowerment for COP campaign, and she is a wonderful part of our team. She has been working in her egalitarian principles to be a part of the change in the society that we have always wanted. Diksha, I welcome you to the session. And the first and the foremost thing I'd like to know from you, Diksha, is what is there any examples that you can share of youth-driven projects that have demonstrated a focus on action, progress, and accountability in the field of climate resilience and disaster risk reduction in Nepal?
Okay, thank you, Parag. So I'm audible.
Yeah,
Hello?
you're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone. It's me, Diksha Subedi from Nepal. And in my opinion, being youth itself is a challenging. So it has always been a challenging and also an opportunity for being youth. And yes, definitely youth are the power of change to impart the light of change in the community. So talking about the climate change in our country, Nepal, and what it has been affecting and how many people are victimized by the impacts of climate change. So I would like to give some insight about the impacts of climate change in Nepal. Climate change is not only the issue of Nepal, it is a global issue which is affecting the young people, particularly in developing countries like ours. And climate change affects children and young people throughout their life with immediate, longer-term effect and intergenerational impacts. According to a study title, Impacts of Climate Change and Environment Degradation on Children and Youth in Nepal, published by CDCC, Child Centered Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change Consortium in 2021, is mentioned half of the people killed or injured by climate hazard from 2015 to 2020 with children and youth. Yes, children and youth are the major victim and major impacted by the climate change impacts. In Nepal being one of the most vulnerable countries to the climate change, as we are seeing like Nepal being ranking on the 4th most vulnerable countries. And increasing number of children and youth are major impacted. Yeah. So now, as the data show, the impactness of children and youth by climate change has been increased sixfold from 2000 to 2021. So data shows that climate change is majorly impacting the youth and children. Youth and children are the major victim. So we as a youth need to empower them. We as a youth need to conduct different types of programs which can enlighten them, which can empower them, and which can help them to mitigate the impacts of climate change. In years, I'm also involved in different climate-related programs since 4 years. And in the initial journey, I have been doing different volunteering activities. I have been part of different consultation, different climate strikes, different youth-led consultations, which mainly spoke for the climate change mitigation and adaptation technology. Being an agriculture student, I am always inclined towards the climate change, and I always wanted to align climate change and agriculture in a similar aspect, so that yes, our country Nepal is agricultural country, and being impacted by the climate change, both of the topic are major issue. As a youth, I have been actively participating in different climate change programs, advocating for uplifting climate momentum in Nepal, and I would like to address some of the organizations in our country who are youth-led organizations and have been doing remarkable change to mitigate it. And first of all is NYC, Nepalese Youth for Climate Action, is one of the youth-led organizations who are mainly engaged in tackling the climate change, empowering the younger generation to be the part of change. And next one is Youth Action for Sustainable Eco Nepal, I am the founder of that organization. We are doing different kind of campaign, mainly focusing school children. We have recently launched EWAS campaign, Eco Waste Smart School campaign, which mainly empower younger children, like from the 6th class to class 10 students, to learn the basic skills of composting, learn the basic skills of how as an individual can minimize the plastic use, how we can recycle it. So for me, I have learned like about climate change, its impact in my bachelor degree after I have joined NYC. So according to my
Diksha, so sorry for the interruption. I sincerely apologize, but I was listening to you and this question just came on the top of my head. And I also know you have to leave in a couple of minutes, so I couldn't resist sharing the question with you. Also want you to answer, Diksha. I mean, I want to know from you that how can gender inclusivity be improved in the climate resilience initiatives and youth empowerment strategies? As you may know that women and people from other different gender diversified communities feel the severest burns of climate change. So how do you think gender inclusivity can be improved and incorporated in our resilience initiatives? Please
Okay.
also answer them along the way.
Okay, I
Thank
will
you.
answer both questions in a similar time. Yeah? And also one example of youth-led activities is Alco Nepal 2023, which is recently accomplished on 15 and 16 September. We have incorporated 120 youth in a similar space, and then also raised their voices, like their demands, and we have submitted the national youth paper to the government of Department of Ministry and Forest of our country recently. And yes, youth-led projects are being initiating day by day, and they are bringing change in our country, Nepal. And I hope many developing countries youth are also doing same to bring change and to develop resilient society. And so next question is about gender, like how gender inclusivity can improve in resilience initiative and youth empowerment. So basically in our country, gender inclusivity is a major burning problem, because still most of the people are facing like there is a gap between the men and women. Yeah, being a girl, it is always challenging for me also, because men always question mark arise when we started from to work, when we started to do one something movement, like, yeah. So when men are on the floor, there is no question mark, and when women are on the floor, there is always question mark. It's not your job. There are many people, there are many men who can do these activities. So being a girl is always challenging, and gender inclusivity is a major major things in this generation to achieve resilience initiative and youth empowerment. So in my opinion, how can we achieve gender inclusivity to empower younger generation? One is capacity building. So capacity building and training accessibility can be measured to empower the women and to empower both girls and women group. Yeah. So we need to advocate for them, and we need to provide equal accessibility and equal feasibility for everything like men is getting. So we are always demanding for 50-50. 50%, yeah, but still we aren't getting just in our country we get 33%, like 33% accessibility to many things, yeah, but we are demanding 50-50. But it is a bit challenging for girls or for women to fight with men and to fight with rights, yeah, but we are still practicing day by day for gender inclusivity in equal access, like government should guarantee equal access to the resources, information and opportunity for all genders, and ensure that girls and young women have the same chances as a boy and young men to participate in this initiative can be one remarkable to have gender inclusivity. And next is gender responsive education can also be next part, which helps to empower girls and women, because there is always a stereotype, like in our country, in in a rural parts, there is a myth or say girls will not be sent to the schools for education. Only boys need to be sent for schools because girls have to get married and go to next person house. Yeah. So such kind of stereotype is still prevailing in our society, which is the major hindrance for gender inclusivity. Yeah. So gender responsive education can be another factor which can like break all this stereotype and which can have equal 50-50 participations of girls and boys in a similar space. And yes, definitely awareness and advocacy is major necessary in everything to bring change and to also advocate to gender equality and resilience initiatives. And so this allocated time for me is just now. Is there any
Thank you, Diksha. I really hope you could stay longer and we could hear more from you. But it was great listening to you, and it was great understanding the, especially the gender dimension of youth-led initiatives in building climate resilience. So thank you once again for joining. I think you are going to drop off now. It would have been great to have you till the end, but thank you again for joining. And yeah, and now
Thank you.
moving
Thank
on.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Diksha. Now moving on, I can very gladly say that Vikrant Srivastava has joined us. Vikrant is currently working as the focal point of Asian Youth Empowerment for COP. Vikrant is also a founder of an international organization called Nisarg Foundation. Vikrant is also the regional facilitator of Asia Pacific of Children and Youth Major Group to UNEP. Just like I said multiple times, we as young people wear a million hats. Vikrant is no different. So Vikrant, welcome to the session. I am sure if we keep introducing you, it would take all the times of the session. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. And because as we all know, you have been working extensively on climate action, especially in the South Asia and the Pacific region. So I have this very specific question for you. That is, I want to know what are the key challenges that Asian youth face when trying to participate in the climate discussions and resilience building efforts? And also, how can these challenges be addressed? Yeah, that's my question to you for now.
Thank you, Parag. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you organizing and the team who's organizing the conference. I think Diksha, Srishti, and a colleague from Bangladesh already set the context of what youth are facing challenge in terms of gender, in terms of Asian youth, in terms of very specific local tracks. But I will just try to highlight few of the points, and maybe that would be better for just to be in the time constant. We surely have a limited education. If you see in many Asian country, climate education still isn't integrated into the mechanism curriculum. As a result, a significant number of young individuals lack a comprehensive understanding of climate change, and it causes, and it is far-reaching impact. This knowledge gap often result in either empathy or misguided effort. Again, Diksha was also talking about how the woman married and go to his other husband place, and then this other issues come, which is social culture barrier in various Asian country and culture. If you see, young individuals are traditionally expected to remain defer to their elders. These cultural norms often make it difficult for young voices to be heard or taken seriously in significant community or national discussion about climate change. Yep, in their concern, and this overshadowed by a lot of older generation who do not view the climate change with the same urgency. One major like is again financial constraint. Many young activists, change maker face finance limitation, attending international conference, hosting awareness campaign, also or initiating community project, which often required funding. And without funding support or accessibility funding platform, these passionate individuals find it challenging to translate their enthusiasm into actionable initiative. Other two main issues are lack of practical skills. While many youth are eager to contribute to the climate resilience, they often face a lack of practical skills. They might have innovation idea, but they don't know how to draft a project proposal. They don't know how to manage a project implementation or navigate the bureaucracy process that will come with initiating the environmental project. One again, major lag is language barrier. Global climate discussion predominantly occurs in English. For many Asian youth, especially those from the non-English speaking countries or background, they possess a significant challenge. The lack of proficiency in English is a hinder in their ability to fully participate and to contribute or even understand the international climate dialogues. These are some of the challenges right now we as Asian youth are facing. But what we can do to overcome few of the suggestions from our end would be definitely parties attending COP28 should consider including youth delegation as part of their official delegation. But at the same time, these delegations should be provided with a strong understanding of negotiation, mentoring, and training. And with this, that these delegations can offer first-hand perspectives of how the climate change impact the young generation and serve as a spokesperson for youth-driven initiative. Dedicated youth platform campaigns such as I for COP, Asian Youth Empowerment, and other campaigns running in align to the COP and other UN processes should be established. And also sessions during COP28 that should be spotted with the youth-led initiative, the research. This can provide a structured environment for young activists, researchers, and innovators to share their finding and proposal. Again, feedback mechanism. After presenting youth insight during the COP, we need to establish a feedback mechanism where policymakers provide constructive feedback. This could create a dialogue between youth and the decision making, and also ensure the recommendations aren't just represented but also be discussed. Other two, I will try to be very short. Other two major important thing is post COP engagement. If you follow the COP from, I'm following the COP from COP26 very closely, and then COP27 and now COP28. If you see the graph of people attending the COP, from COP26 there were 30,000, and then COP27 we increased to 50,000, and this year we have registered till 80,000 people. What engagement these 80,000 people are bringing after the COP? So this is very important. The engagement should not be stopped at the conference. We need to create a platform for the continuous collaboration between youth and policymaker. This can be like a joint task force. This can be like a periodic consultation or involvement in policy implementation and monitoring. Last but not the least, funding and the scholarship. We should ensure that all youth participants should be provided with scholarship, financial support for the young delegates, activists, and the researchers, not just to attend COP, but subsequently with the meetings happening. This will definitely remove the financial barrier that often prevent youth from the low income background from participating. Just to end up, one very important point in the context of Asian youth is inclusive representation. We need to ensure the youth representative of this context is already diverse and in compromise with different ethnic background, region, and social economical status. So we need to ensure that these sort of broader engagement should be brought and should ensure that a broader and more inclusive perspectives in these decision making should be included from these different ethnic and background. Thank you, Parag.
Thank you so much, Vikrant. I think you have raised a lot of excellent points, and we will get back to you to discuss more about COP28. But one thing I really catched from when you are talking about the challenges is the funding challenges for our community-led projects. I myself have faced that a lot when I work in Bangladesh, that we have excellent projects, but we don't get the sufficient financial support. So I'd like to echo this challenge to our next speaker. I'd like to go back to Tamim again, and I'd like to ask Tamim that how can we promote the scaling up of youth-led climate and resilience projects, considering both local and global impacts? Tamim, if you can hear me, and maybe share a short answer with us on that.
Thank you, Farhan. So I think
Tamim, I think we can't hear you very well. No, we still can't hear you.
hello.
very well.
Now okay.
Yeah, better now. Yeah.
I think work we are doing now can be an important medium. So scale up our initiative, because now we are raise our voice, we are discuss about it, and most important barrier is when the youth take a initiative arranged by ensure. So when we are ensure like fund to support this initiative, I think it's a better skill of and also we need to advocacy so that all stakeholders get support in the work. So I think it's enough for scale of this initiative. All right.
Yeah, Tamim, I'll get back to you with a similar type of question in a while, but now I'd like to go to Srishti. Srishti has been working with both UNICEF, and she also runs her own organization. So I think we can get a better understanding from Srishti on how and what strategies can be employed to ensure that resilience building initiatives are equitable and socially inclusive, taking into account the vulnerable communities. As Srishti, you've been working with UNICEF. I think you will be the best person to answer it. And so, yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for that. And while I'm working with partially with UNICEF, also the country office, mainly on youth-led initiatives and how the youth's capacity could be built through skill development, through providing opportunities for jobs, and creating avenues for their engagement voluntarily and also through capacity building, and how they can kind of access those kind of advocacy platforms. Um, what I wanted to focus here was on my previous experience, on where I was kind of working with building the climate resilience capacities of urban poor across South Asia. And from that experience, it was back in 2015, and I was working for about 4 years in building the capacities. And the entry point for us for women and adolescent girls, where we so opt out from that experience working across 100 slums, including in Dhaka and in Kathmandu. I wanted to showcase, and it is my personal experience as well, how the policies or whatever planning processes we are a part of, how it could be more locally informed. And now we have the locally led adaptation principles, which is being kind of advocated with big global organizations, including the International Center for Climate Change and Development, and you know more organizations who are focusing on resilience, but how these policies and plans could more be locally informed. So that brings a lot of inclusivity into the processes, and but that also requires whenever we are doing local planning, how the communities could be part of those locally planning, processes, and also not only at the local level, but some of them can also be part of the national planning processes, and then the entire thing could kind of inform the global policy, like we are trying to do through the GGA framework as well. And if you see whatever drafted points till now, you will see it is kind of a reinstating on the fact that it has to be locally informed. And the reason behind that is, mitigation and adaptation are two different mechanisms. Mitigation, if you kind of reduce your GHG emissions from India and the US, it's going to have a similar scale, and it is going to be very much similar in its methodology, but adaptation is very locally contextual. People from India would have totally different adaptation approaches, and people in Bangladesh would need a totally different adaptation approach. And not only in India, even within the cities, when I had worked, the slum pockets, some were facing heat stress more because of lesser, trees around and having non-ventilated houses totally, closed. And other slums were facing a lot of water security and flooding issues. So it is very, very locally contextualized when we talk about adaptation. So it has to be very much locally informed, and it has to be built together and kind of made into a, a process which is kind of, and that's why the GGA metric is very important to have to make those all of those connections. Second is I wanted to talk about how we don't see communities and young people involved in resilience initiatives as beneficiaries. It is now, I think we are now at a phase where we need to make them partners in the process, both the communities and the young people, because considering the fact that communities are at the forefront and they need to come up with a lot of frameworks and approaches to save themselves from the climate crisis, but also young people, where I mean the world is talking about young people being the going to be the the most important stakeholders in getting impacted. But how can we be part of the solution? So we have to be, I mean, we have to partner in the process. But in that partnership, it is not only young people who would kind of, make themselves available in bringing those partners, but there has to be spaces for us to partner as well. So the stakeholders need to kind of look at us as partners in the process, whether it's through government support programs or in the locally led adaptation process, because there are so many young people. India itself has 50% young people, and it can create a multiplier effect if young people are leaders and they can bring back the solutions to their communities, and it will be able to create that multiplier effect with with the high numbers we are currently. So that would be the second thing. And the third and last thing is about there is when I talk about capacity building, I don't only mean that, okay, give them some knowledge and they are able to do something. I would rather say that communities and young people need very specific. When we are talking about social inclusion, we just need to give them specific tools which help them understand climate change well, which help them understand the upcoming risks well, because we cannot be everywhere. Whatever initiative we are undertaking, it would be for a specific time period, or it would be, just fade off after the funding is over or something. So we have to come out of that project mode and build the capacity in a way that even if me as Srishti is there, or me as the or any ICCAD is there, or UNICEF is there, their capacities are so nicely built that they are able to take care of themselves, and they are able to look for the upcoming risks, and they have already avenues where they can kind of protect themselves and their community. So that would be my answer on how inclusive approaches would look like. And yes, ready to take any questions later. Thank you, Parag, and over to you.
Thank you, Srishti. I think you have raised some excellent concerns and also some excellent points. But what I really took from you and what I can really connect is with that we haven't been able to partner with young people. We haven't been able to see young people as co-leaders. So I'd like to take this to Vikrant again. Vikrant, you have been engaged and you have been following the climate negotiations process, especially since COP26. And you must agree with me when I say that young people are at COP, young people are very vocal at COP, but to some extent, young people's voices and insights aren't in the COP decision-making process. So I really want to know that what strategies can be employed to ensure that young people's insights and recommendations are effectively incorporated into COP28 discussions and the climate resilience policies.
Thank you, Parag. Again, we'll definitely push on the delegation program. And again, that delegation program should not be just bringing youth, but also providing a strong understanding of negotiation, and again, mentoring and training them on different COP thematics, especially and every country should have one youth delegation representing different COP thematics. But yeah, one thing I learned during the LCOI which I had the thought, but now attending the ALCOA India this year, sort of gave this idea of how these youth are attending. If you see the delegation of youth, they are so much divided, first of all, and then they face challenge attending these negotiations, these international conferences, because there is a lot of badge monopoly. And if you see, the maximum amount of youth ended up as an observer or as a media or something like that. But that makes limited for them to attend the negotiation. If someone is being working hard, training themselves to be part of negotiator, to provide inputs, and he have the observer badge, so he does not have the proper access to sit in the negotiation and provide inputs. So during the ALCOA India, again, Srishti is also on the call. She mentioned a very sort of engaging approach how we can do that. If you see the circle of this, if you see the amount of reflection, so if you see a circle of party badge, it's gonna be huge, and the effect and the amount which they can proceed, they can implement, or they can reflect in their negotiation also gonna be huge. So we need to have more sort of those party badge, so that we can directly influence, we can directly provide inputs in these negotiation. And again, if you see the observer, they are already have the lot of issues by they are ringing, they are coming, and they already have a lot of youth volunteers. And then this year, only 2 badges has been given to one organization. And can you see the imagine? I mean, one of my organization, they have more than 10,000 volunteers, and they have only 2 badges. So how are they going to represent the whole community of 10,000? No, it's not possible. So in that case, we need to again have very specific agenda with very few limited people attending, with sort of intense knowledge, sort of intense experience going through all through years of process, understanding, and also creating a post-COP engagement, because this is very important. If you see, we are increasing participant every year, 40,000, 50,000 people are increasing. But how many youth are there? We don't have a proper data on youth, how many youth are attending there. We don't have proper data of how these youth are coming to these COPs. What are the challenges they are facing while coming to COP? Are they also able to survive of the COP? All these years they are facing challenges to attend the COP. And what is happening after the COP? What is happening during the COP? So post-COP engagement is very important. Creating such task forces to analyze what has happened with them, to work with the periodic consultation, to work them to involve more in the policy implementation and monitoring and these sort of challenges. But yeah, at the end, we need more young people to be on the party flow badge or a party badge, so that they can directly influence, they can directly provide their constructive effect. And I'm sure that we have a lot of knowledgeable youth, those who provide such strong scientific guidance to these negotiations. If you see these negotiations taking place, a lot of youth are coming and they're providing knowledge. But when it comes to COP, it's a bit of a challenge they are facing in terms of getting party flow, and that is one sort of lag at this present moment youth is facing, with a lot of issues which I have already talked.
Thank you so much, Vikrant. And yeah, I really feel connected with when you said that, yeah, young people are attending COPs, young people are very vocal at COPs, but no one knows what are the post-COP activities that even young people are doing, and even the agencies who are taking these young people to COP, they are doing. So to some extent, the COPs and the young people's attendance at COPs are becoming a one-off thing. And also, I also feel like that COP still lacks a lot of grassroots voices. I mean, people like Tamim and people like Diksha, who have been working relentlessly on the ground, their voices are still not there. So I'd like to again go back to Srishti. Sorry, I'm just doing back and forth between you two. But I'd like to again go back to Srishti and know that what are the opportunities and the challenges in bridging the gap between local and grassroots resilience efforts and the global policy discussions. And how can young people forge this connection? Yeah, maybe Srishti, you could briefly answer that, and then we have another question for you, a lot of questions for you. So sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Always happy to answer questions since I have been working in this climate change space for a decade now, so totally fine with me. But yes, I am very like I will echo the same thing which has already been spoken here that we need more grassroots level youth in the policy development space, although their opportunities are limited and restricted as well at some level. But how can we bring more grassroots voices in the policy development, not only at the policy level, but at the global policy level, but also at the local, national, and the global policy level? Because the global policy is mostly implemented at the national level and then further back into, into the community. So of course we need more grassroots voices. But also because you know how much currently the young people within the climate change is getting a lot of attention, a lot of events are happening around it. A lot of young people have access to these spaces. Some are being supported very well. So how can those spaces and platforms could be used to attract more, attention to the grassroots level needs when it comes to climate crisis is very important. Like we as young people, I had only got an opportunity to attend COP 26 after 8 years of my experience, while I had been working, at South Asia level, building the resilience, but I only got an opportunity in COP 26. But when I went to COP 26, I felt responsible because of as I felt responsible for the marginalized communities. I was supposed to be the voice. Since observer communities, as Vikrant has mentioned, most of the young people get observer badges, and if you see the observer community, the civil society representation, we are kind of the voices of the marginalized communities. We are fighting for climate finance. We are fighting for, justice, climate justice, and all that. So we have to be very cognizant of the fact that we don't have to forget that whenever we are participating and getting access to these spaces, we have to be the voice of the people who don't have the access to those places. So that is very important, and that is our opportunity. Even if, for example, 10 of us are here, and if one person is able to have access to the spaces, to those spaces, how can we contribute? And that person could be the voice of, the whatever experiences we have and whatever local communities and networks we are working with. So that would be the first, I would say, challenge as well as opportunity. I mixed it all together, but I hope it is understandable. Second is about the grassroots leadership which we need to develop, and through the capacity building, they would be able to raise themselves, gradually across the ladder when they are focusing on global policy. A lot of mentorship is required. I have worked with, a lot of grassroots young leaders working on single-use plastics, taking climate action. I have mobilized so many young people in India through various networks and projects which I was associated with on all these years. I feel they are already doing a lot. Okay, they are already very motivated. They have a lot of opportunities. They know where to ask for funds, also how to collaborate. They're very smart. The only thing is the mentorship requirements. Like if they have received the grant, how they can manage it. They don't know that because they're working as a network and not as an organization. Then also, of course, funding grassroots initiatives, youth-led initiatives, also an issue. How can we support that as young people who have again expertise in a way to write, a nice proposal or um, do fundraising, small grants, how we can support these small organizations and grassroots leader with preparing that proposal, developing their capacity for monitoring and evaluation, because no, our today's donors require many document, all sorts of documentation. So these are very little things which are challenges, but we are definitely very much in the space where these challenges could be transformed into opportunities if we are able to provide the right kind of mentorship and guidance, and kind of bring different people together in the form of partnerships and collaborations. So that would be the second one. And lastly, there are going to be, so there is an LCOI mechanism already there. And this year, as an organizer of LCOI, we have tried to bridge the gap between global policy and local action, because local leaders don't know how the global policy works, and global policy people who have access to these spaces, they're not very aware of how, how it is connected to local action. So we had used that platform
So
to
sorry to
bridge that
interrupt.
gap. Yes.
We have been hearing so many good words about ILCOI. So I was wondering if you could share some insights from ILCOI India within your answer as well.
Yes, that's what I was mentioning. So we had planned the session where we brought in an interactive breakout session where we brought the global policy work streams of UNFCCC, which people find very technical, like, loss and damage. So, but at least people would know what is loss and damage, how it is negotiated, how it is, what priorities are there for youth within the loss and damage, negotiation. So we used up this breakout activity to kind of bridge the gap between this whole technical world of UNFCCC and how whatever young people were there as part of that room, how their local actions are already contributing to whatever, adaptation or action for climate empowerment. So we try to bridge that gap a lot. We also try to do it through our field visits, because the first day was focusing on capacity building on UNFCCC, but then they went to field visit and then they actually saw how climate finance kind of is working with the climate finance mechanisms, um, are kind of helping give access to the communities on various adaptation related finance or rehabilitation and all that. So this year, while the theme of the local conference of Youth India was climate resilient development and how young people's passion could be converted into progress as a country, we tried to bridge the gap a lot between the global policy and local actions. And I think we were able to build capacity and bridge that gap successfully. And I hope we will be able to see that more at the global policy level, and some, of course, partnerships and initiatives coming back to India as well.
Thank you so much, Srishti. And I really hope that what you did in ILCOI India is repeated in all the other ILCOIs happening around the globe, especially in our region. And I also hope that you can do this next year as well. So one thing I really got from your speech is that there are NGOs and especially the donor agencies who require a lot of documents, who has a very difficult process that young people need to go through. And we have Tamim here. Tamim has been working with a lot of development partners in Bangladesh, and he is working with them very closely. So Tamim, if I can go back to you again and maybe ask that what collaborative efforts between youth organizations and government agencies, especially the NGOs, can be proven most effective in terms of building climate resilience in local communities? I hope the question was clear, but I can repeat it again. Tamim, are you there?
Internet problem.
We are having a bit issue hearing you properly. Tamim, are you there with us? I think you have some internet issues, maybe. Tamim, if you're speaking, your mic is muted. I think Tamim is facing some difficulties. But I believe we have had an excellent discussion so far, and Vikrant, Srishti, Diksha, and Tamim, you guys have shared some insights that were really necessary for especially the young people around South Asia and broader Asia and the Pacific. And I don't think there will be a lot of questions because we have prepared the questions thinking that participants in mind, but still I'd like to open up the floor for our audience to know if there are any questions for our speakers. Maybe we can open up the floor and take 3 to 4 questions if there are any. If you have a question, just feel free to raise your hand and we'll give you the floor. Yeah, I guessed it. I guessed it before. There won't be a lot of questions because you guys have covered it so eloquently, and you guys have covered everything that a young person in the climate space need to know and wants to know. Yeah, again, I don't think there are any questions. So again, I'd like to thank all of you for joining the session in such a short notice, especially. That was my bad, totally from my end. But yeah, again, thank you so much for having this fruitful conversation. And thank you for joining and thank you for making the session a success. And we are almost at the end of our session. And I'd like to request Vikrant, who's the focal point of Asian Youth Empowerment for COP, to deliver maybe a short closing remark on our behalf.
Yes, thank you, Parag. I was not prepared for this, but yeah, like a couple of times I have mentioned that one of the key initiative could be bringing youth platform together, working with the government and other intergovernmental negotiation platforms, and these dedicated youth platforms should be more industrialized. And IFA-COP is an Asian Youth Empowerment is under the Younggo umbrella, which is the official youth constituency to UNFCCC process. And being a youth, if you are a youth, you are already part of Younggo. That is the unique quality of Younggo, and that means that that's also unique quality of I. You don't have to be member, you don't have to sign, you don't have to do anything. If you are young, if you are a children, if you are anywhere in Asia, or if you have this sort of inclined toward Asian context to help them to promote their voices, you are already part of iCampaign. So maybe at the end, I will just ask Parag or anyone facilitating this call to organizing team to share this I4COP campaign with a broader network for us to sort of learn with other community and to also bring their voices in this platform. And also while we are struggling to have more financial resources to attend and then bring a delegation of 50 youth. So try to also help or try to also work with us, and so that we can bring at least 50 youth from all part of Asian countries at COP. And while we are already working to train them with the different COP thematics, it will be great again to collaborate sort of with other engagement resource and engagement institution we already have. So, yep, while ending, I will just say I4COP is one of the platform right now created by the youth for the youth, and having a meaningful discussion, bringing meaningful conversation from all respective region of Asia. So yeah, thank you so much for us.
Thank you so much, Vikrant. I think we really need to commemorate this session. So I'd like to request everyone who's on the call with us to please turn your cameras on so that we can take a photo and we can maybe share it afterwards. So anyone, wherever you're joining from, please turn your cameras on. We're gonna have a beautiful photo. I'll turn my cameras on from 2 devices. There I am, in 2 different devices. So yeah, everyone please turn your cameras on. We'll have a photo. And I hope Fatin is there. Fatin, would it be possible for you to click our photo? Yeah, great. Thank you. Fatin, do let us know when you're done. Okay, great. And also, finally, a huge round of thanks to the organizers, especially ECAD, for organizing such an important and such an instrumental hub for especially for South Asia. I think this is an excellent platform for South Asian communities, organizations to showcase and speak their words. So again, thanking ECAD from our behalf and signing off from today's sessions. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope we have had a great time. Thank you for joining. Bye.